Nobody saw a threat until he didn't stand up. Elliot Rowe was shouted at. I swear the whole place just stopped breathing for a second. Nobody moved. The MAGA hat sat on the table. She pointed, she screamed, she dialed. He didn't flinch, didn't look at her, didn't even blink. His hand stayed on the coffee cup, not sipping, just holding. The room froze. Her voice didn't. The glass caught her reflection. Wild eyes, shaking phone, like a warning siren no one answered. Elliot looked past her, out the window. He wasn't counting seconds. He was counting missteps. And she had just made the first. He didn't move, didn't speak. Not because he couldn't, but because he didn't need to. Elliot Rowe wasn't the kind to lift chairs or raise voices. He believed in pressure, slow, steady, and legal. Years ago, someone told him, "Don't raise your hand if they're already cutting their own throat." It stuck. This wasn't the first time someone like her mistook silence for surrender. Wasn't the first time someone screamed, hoping to be seen as strong. And it sure as hell wouldn't be the last. He'd seen her kind in city halls, on boards, at town hearings, loud, certain, wrong. So no, he didn't stand to argue. He let her rise, let her voice crack in public, let her wave that phone like a badge, let her believe this was her stage. The MAGA hat stayed on the table. He didn't touch it, didn't need to. For some people, just seeing it was enough to come undone. Behind the counter, the barista froze mid-pour, didn't speak, didn't blink. His hand hovered, one beat too long. Even he knew. Something had shifted. Elliot exhaled once. No anger, no smile, just patience. He wasn't here to protest. He wasn't here to provoke. He came for eggs, coffee, quiet. But if she wanted a stage, he'd let her have the lights. Because Elliot didn't fight for noise. He waited for proof. She didn't ask, didn't question, didn't check. She just lifted the phone, pressed record, and pointed. The camera was her weapon. The room, her courtroom, no jury, no facts, just tone, just volume. "He's threatening me," she said, loud, sharp, like a warning shot aimed at hearts that hadn't picked sides. "He's targeting me because I'm not like him." There it was, the line, not the truth, just the trigger. Heads turned, a cough stopped mid-chest. Someone lowered their fork. Nobody nodded, but no one spoke either. That was all she needed. Elliot didn't move, didn't defend, didn't flinch. His fingers slid, just slightly, to the edge of the file. The seal caught a sliver of light. Governor Advisory Board. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. Behind her, the glass door showed both of them. Two figures, one wild, one still. Guess who looked dangerous? She took another step. Closer now, voice climbing, eyes flaring. "I don't feel safe with people like that here." Again, no evidence, no incident, just a hat on a table and a man not responding. The coffee machine hissed, the air tightened, and Elliot blinked, once. He knew this move, moral performance, dressed in public concern, rooted in control, not law, not truth, just noise. And the more she yelled, the more the silence pressed back. Because silence, real silence, isn't surrender, it's bait. And Elliot had just marked the first trap. You ever watch something like this? And it just sits with you for a while, like you've seen it happen. Maybe not in a cafe, but close enough. If this kind of quiet pushback feels familiar, tell me how you'd have handled it. I read everything. She kept yelling. He kept listening, but only with one hand. The other opened the file. No words, just one paper. Slid gently to the middle of the table, face up. The sun caught it. Light hit the print like a spotlight. Bold, black, undeniable. He didn't point, didn't explain, didn't even glance at her. But the man behind the counter, he leaned forward, eyes narrowed. The woman didn't notice, still circling, still loud. "He's provoking me. He's trying to intimidate people like me." No one answered, except a soft hiss from the espresso machine, like it knew what was coming. On the paper, Special Counsel to Governor, Code 17.9A. No decoration, no explanation, just a title and a number. It didn't need meaning, only doubt. and the room had plenty. The barista stepped back, subtle, but his eyes stayed on the paper. Elliot didn't move, didn't need to. The hat sat untouched, still red, still loud. But now it rested between two things no one dared question: government seal and silence. Not a defense, not a threat, just placement, like a chess piece positioned with no rush. But ready to end the game in 3 moves, the woman leaned closer, too close, and that's when someone in the back shifted. Chair creaked, phone camera stopped recording. Not because they were done watching, but because something had just shifted, and Elliot saw it, didn't smile, just adjusted the cup, half-inch closer to the paper, then leaned back, letting the weight of ink and sunlight do the talking. She stepped closer, too close, pressed her palm flat on the table, right next to the paper. "Who do you think lets you bring that in here?" The cafe went silent. Even the ice and glasses stopped shifting. Elliot didn't flinch, didn't look up, didn't blink, just one movement. A tilt of the file. Quiet, deliberate. The logo slid into full view. Governor Advisory Board, seal number 802. Gold foil, embossed, real. A low exhale passed from the back of the room. Not laughter, recognition. Someone at the window lifted their phone, not to record, but to remember. The woman froze half a second, but it wasn't in her nature to stop. "So, now you think you're above the law?" Her voice rose, but it cracked. She pointed again, at the hat, at the paper, at him, like naming objects could control them. But Elliot still didn't speak. Instead, he shifted the cup, half an inch, placed it between the paper and the brim of the red hat. The line was clear now. Law, symbol, silence. And her hand, still resting on the table, had just crossed it. From the back, a guest nodded, small but visible, like a verdict forming. Another pulled out their phone, but didn't press record. They waited. Elliot's eyes flicked once toward the barista. Still watching, still saying nothing. But everyone felt it. The room had flipped. She thought she was pushing him to the edge, but she'd stepped into the spotlight, and Elliot had only tilted a page, because when she asked, "Who allows you?" she hadn't realized she was asking the one man who didn't need permission, and the room, it had just picked a side, silently, but completely. She sent the email, CC'd the whole neighborhood. Subject line bold, inappropriate political symbolism, immediate review requested. Elliot didn't reply, didn't attend the open forum, but Grant MacLeod did. He arrived with a folder, no podium, no preface. Just walked to the front, laid 2 sheets on the table. The first, her email, same subject, same tone. Her name at the bottom, signed, stamped. Grant read only one line, loud, slow. "We are not allowed to distinguish any personal views in the common space." A silence dropped. Someone shifted. Another whispered. Then, "So, what was Mr. Rowe doing that violated the policy?" she wrote. No answer, just the sharp sound of her swallow. Then Grant placed the second print. He didn't explain, didn't look at her, just let it sit. Header, Strategic Policy Collaboration Agreement, Governor's Office, signatory, Elliot Rowe, position, Senior Legal Advisor. One by one, eyes turned. She blinked. Once, twice. No phone, no shouting. Only the weight of her own words, now louder than anything she'd screamed. Someone in the second row let out a breath. Not surprise, relief. Grant finally spoke. One sentence. Gentle, deadly. Sometimes, the loudest one just didn't read what they signed. No laughter, no cheer, just understanding. She stepped back, hands lowered, face pale, nothing to say, no room left to shout in. And Elliot, still not there. Didn't need to be, because the truth didn't need volume. It just needed timing. And his was perfect. 1 week later, 6:45 a.m. Same cafe, same table. The MAGA hat still sat there, not moved, not dusted. Elliot walked in without pause. The barista didn't greet him, just nodded once, like punctuation. He sat, placed his coffee down, same side of the table, same hand on the cup. This time, no paper, no eyes on him, just space. He stayed for 5 minutes, didn't drink, didn't check the time, then stood. From under his coat, he pulled out a small wooden plaque, no flourish, no statement. He laid it gently on the center of the table, smoothed it once, didn't center it, didn't have to. Reserved, by permission only. Small font, firm tone. He looked at it, but only for a second, then turned. Behind him, she walked past, saw the sign, paused, didn't speak, didn't reach for the chair. No one did. Elliot didn't look back, didn't slow down, just left. As if nothing had happened, as if everything had. The table stayed slightly crooked. No one adjusted it, not out of respect, not out of fear, but because something there didn't belong to them anymore. No sign-up sheet, no announcement, just a line, quietly drawn and quietly obeyed. The cafe buzzed again. Cups clinked, steam hissed, but no one sat at that table. Not that day, not the next. And the plaque remained. An old table, a crooked plaque, a cup that was never emptied. Some people raise their voices to be heard. Others only raise a hand when it's time to close the gate. Elliot never shouted. He never needed to. Because truth doesn't need volume, only weight and time. The coffee cooled, but he didn't sip it. He just waited, until silence did what noise never could. In the end, it wasn't about politics, or pride, or power. It was about boundaries, set once, held quietly, never explained, like a fence around an old tree, bent with years, but rooted deep. Those who try to shake it often forget how stillness resists. Until it doesn't move, it lets them fall. And that's the thing with men like him. They don't warn you, they don't chase you,